Tasmels of the Starters.
This is Ben Golliver with the Open Floor Podcast.
Hi, I'm Kristen Ludlow from NBA Inside Stuff.
I'm OG Anunoby of the Toronto Raptors.
Hey, I'm Elena Donan, and welcome to the Double Clutch.
Double Clutch.
Double Clutch. Double Clutch.
Double Clutch Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Double Clutch Podcast. I'm one of your usual hosts, Mike Miller, and tonight I'm joined once again by Tom Hall.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's been a while since I spoke basketball with anyone, so it's good to get on the line and talk about some NBA stuff.
Definitely going to be dusting off some... Well, I don't even know how to start this podcast. It's been so long, it feels like. But we're also joined by Mr. Nick Whitfield.
Hey guys, as Tom mentioned, good to chat hoops, both fictional and real.
Both fictional and real. And I see you're wearing your fresh Two Lies, One Truth championship belt.
Yes, yeah, got the name engraved. It's. I think I'm going to be defending the title next week, so looking forward to that.
Excellent, cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this week for another episode. If you're not already subscribed, please go and do so. If you are not following us on any social media platforms, then you really ought to be. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Double Clutch UK. The website is www.doubleclutch.uk. Email us admin@doubleclutch.uk if you want to chat about something. So weirdly, the NBA has now been on hiatus for about 3 weeks, I want to say. Might be longer. I'm kind of in that funk, I don't know if anyone else is, where they don't really know what day of the week it is or anything like that. So we thought we'd do something slightly different. There's still a bunch of NBA content and news going on though, which kind of surprises me, because when basketball does stop, it never really stops. So we probably ought to start with the big topic everywhere, which is coronavirus, which obviously the announcement that Rudy Gobert had tested positive shut down the entire league. He's now recovered, I guess is the word we're looking for. So is Donovan Mitchell, Marcus Smart and Christian Wood that we know of. That's a positive, I guess. I mean, in an NBA sense, yeah, but this is so much bigger than the NBA. How are you guys coping with this lockdown across the globe?
Doing okay. So I'm a teacher myself, so our school is shut down and we've been sent home. So the first week last week kind of felt like it was Easter holidays come early, so it's quite nice having a line and playing 2K and stuff. This week now it's kind of starting to hit home a bit that this could be around for the long term. So I was just saying before we recorded that I tried to set a routine just to kind of stick to some kind of normality, whatever that looks like. But yeah, doing all right. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, I was just saying to you guys before we started this that I'm I'm based remotely anyway, so in some ways my life hasn't changed as much as a lot of other people's, but what I have noticed is that because I'm based at home, to stop getting cabin fevery, normally the sorts of things I'd normally do, like go to the gym or play basketball or go to the cinema, all those sorts of things, you realise how much you miss them suddenly. And I guess because I'm remote, it actually feels for me like this has been going on a lot longer, if that makes sense, than just the few weeks we've been in lockdown. Yeah,
it's a bit of an odd situation. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I only have to go into the office 3 days a week when it's business as usual. Despite the fact there is a huge pandemic that's overhanging all of this, I've quite enjoyed spending the extra time at home with the family, which I suppose is all we can do at this point. That, of course, and talk about the stuff that's going to occupy basketball fans' minds and eyes for the next few weeks. Yesterday, The Last Dance, ESPN's much hyped documentary, has been announced that it's been brought forward from June to April the 19th in the US on ESPN, and in the UK it'll be on Netflix. First episode 1 minute past midnight on Monday the 20th of April. 2 episodes per week for 5 weeks. I'm so excited. Nick, as a 90s stan, how are you feeling about this 10-hour behemoth dedicated to the last season of the Chicago Bulls championship run?
Well, that time cannot come soon enough. I'm so excited for that in the first place, but it will actually be quite frustrating. Normally, I'm actually a fan of the sort of weekly releases rather than binge watching, but I know already before I've even seen it that I'll watch the first episode and be incredibly frustrated that I can't just marathon it multiple times, because as you know, Mike, like getting into basketball around that time, there was such a fascination and a cult around MJ that revisiting it this many years later with this in-depth documentary is going to be fascinating, not only from a nostalgic point of view, but just in case I'm just really interested in like what kind of angle they follow with MJ. Is it just a celebration of him, or is it more a subjective look at his personality, how he is with his teammates, and how much input does Pippen and Rodman and Kerr and all the other teammates have? I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm desperate to see it on the basis that it's the guy I grew up watching and idolising. Have you seen the clip where he's chewing out Luke Longley?
No, I haven't seen that.
There's a pretty good... He's like, I threw you the ball, catch the ball, and there might be some effing and blinding. I can't remember straight away. So I wonder whether we're going to see the version of Jordan we heard about but didn't actually get to see. Which would be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how that affects his overall reputation, whether that adds to the lore or whether it detracts from it. Tom, I don't suppose you probably saw Jordan as a bull.
Never in the flesh, never live, no. So I'm excited from an education standpoint. Obviously, I've seen a lot of him, but it'd be good to kind of soak myself in that. I'm also excited about it because with it being a Netflix thing, I'm hoping I can use it as a vehicle to get my wife to like basketball a bit more. And then I can actually watch more in the house in sociable hours. And as well because she's made me watch Bates Motel through the last week, which I don't know if you've seen or heard about that, but it's just so uncomfortably weird and not fun to watch. So I'm hoping that this is not revenge, because I know it'll be good, but something that I can kind of get her on board with and use to watch more basketball.
I've not seen Bates Motel. I'm going to assume it's Psycho/Hitchcock related.
Yeah, so it's like a really long prequel before that, set in modern day, but it's all about Norman and how he grows up to be
Norman,
a weirdo.
Yeah, a psycho as the as the director or whatever he was. What was Hitchcock? Did he write it and direct it? Just direct it? I don't even know. But anyway, Norman Bates, Psycho. That was a random tangent we've just taken. Yeah, I'm so pumped for this. I have, much like with the NBA, NBA season coming, the players get into their off-season workouts. I'm doing my Last Dance version of a workout, and I'm prepping. I've started Blood on the Horns by Roland Lazenby. I've got Playing for Keeps by David Halberstam to read. So I'm going back through exactly what was covered at the time. Both books I've read before, but I was planning to revisit them before it dropped in June, and now I've just had to speed it up. So the book I was reading at the time had to go down, and I'm like, nope, here we go, straight away, out, let's go. So I'm super excited for it. Are either of you going to stay up and watch it live? I say live, the minute it drops?
I don't
think so. Or is that just me?
We've now got, because Westworld also drops on a Sunday at like 2 a.m. or something, so Monday nights are going to be Westworld and then the Bulls documentary for me.
Ball is life. Nick, are you going to be able to work from home if you're going to stay up for it? Are you going to be able to balance the two? Are you going to?
Yeah, I
think
I probably will stay up for it. To be honest, I'm that excited. The thing that blows my mind about it is I wish I could credit whatever podcast it was I was listening to, but I honestly can't remember. But they were talking about how long this has been in the works and how many different variations it's gone through. At one point, Spike Lee even had the commission to produce it. But it just blows my mind that something on this scale about Michael Jordan hasn't been released already. It blows my mind, where you think about how important like time is with everything content related now, that the fact they've just let it run on decade is is crazy.
I think you might be talking about the Howard Beck Steve Kerr pod.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm trying to figure out why, and obviously there's a lot of people. I think that, as I understand it, there was a little bit of contention from Jordan's camp originally about wanting control over certain aspects, which is interesting.
Probably linked to the types of scenes you were talking about already.
Yeah, perhaps. I also wonder whether the passing of Jerry Krause had something to do with it. They wanted to leave it a certain amount of time because there was a lot of animosity in-house between him and the players and the coaching staff, and I wonder whether that plays a role, whether we're going to see it. Like, from my understanding of the situation at the time, everything was like on splinters anyway. Pippin's relationship had completely deteriorated, so it's going to be really quite cool to see it finally. I'm very much looking forward to it. But we've got lots to get into today, and we've got a couple more topics to hit quickly. The big three. So the big three has had some success in the past couple of years as like an alternative during the off-season half-court 3-on-3 tournament. Obviously, things were up in the air because of coronavirus, but they're working with I'm assuming they're the American producers of Big Brother, and they're looking at putting all players into a mansion, testing the players, having them held in quarantine essentially, and then having a basketball meets reality TV show. Tom, what do you think of this idea? Is it going to hit that fix you need of basketball?
I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to need to see and try, and then try and make an informed decision on it, because the kinds of names of the players that are going to be going in there, I'm not sure. I've never been one for reality TV shows like that anyway, but I don't know.
Could this be another gateway show for you to get your missus into basketball? Does she like reality TV shows? Is this the perfect opportunity?
Not particularly. We've never been, apart from, I don't know. I was going to say I'm a Celebrity, but would you count that as reality? Yeah.
I don't
know what the boundaries are on these things. But yeah, apart from that, we don't really watch anything like Big Brother or Love Island or anything. So I'll maybe try it by myself first, because I don't want it to take her the other way and then put her off anything to do with sport altogether. But yeah.
Fair enough. Nick, are you gonna watch it? It's quite a unique concept.
Yeah, I'm gonna be all over it, to be honest. The thing,
because it's 90s players, mate.
I love the concept of it. And do you know what it kind of reminds me of is back in the day when the And One mixtapes would come out, and it was the mixture of game action that you'd see, but also you felt like you got to know the players a bit more just by seeing them off the court and them talking about their style of play or the game they're about to play, or a highlight that happened in the previous game or something like that. I think it's a really good... it's a clever idea, and the only thing that will undermine it is depending on what happens with the NBA in terms of scheduling. If there's a conflict there where the NBA is back at the same time the Big Three is trying to launch, it kind of kills it a little bit, because I think the reason they've grown so much is that captive audience for people looking for basketball content at that time of year. So I'm optimistic, though. I'm definitely going to watch that if it happens as they describe it.
Yeah, it's like I say, really unique idea. Fair play. It's taking advantage of an opportunity that wouldn't normally present itself. Final one before the big topic then. NBA2K have announced a players head-to-head in a first ever 2K Players tournament. It'll be on ESPN and ESPN2 in the States. Not quite sure where it'll be shown in the UK, but the first game is Friday, 3rd of April. 16 current NBA players, including Kevin Durant and Trae Young, will compete in a single elimination player-only tournament on the Xbox One. On an Xbox One, I guess, not the Xbox One. How old do I sound? The winner will be crowned the Ultimate NBA 2K20 champion, and a beneficiary charity will receive $100,000. Are you guys aware of this? The news sort of dropped today. Tom, is this something you could get into if the Big Three isn't?
Yeah, although, so the way that they've done this is they've seeded the players by their 2K rating. And I don't know what you've got in front of you, but take a guess as to who is seeded number 3 as things stand.
I've got it in front of me. I can see it.
It's an absolute travesty.
Nick, do you want to guess who's ranked 3rd?
Is it Andre Drummond?
Hassan Whiteside.
It's not bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not bad guess.
I was going to say the players. I do not have this in front of me, but the players I've heard are actually good players. Are KD. Drummond, Whiteside, CJ McCollum on his pod was actually plugging Whiteside as a sleeper in this. I'm trying to think if I've heard anyone else. There's probably a few more I can't think of, but those are the guys I've actually heard are genuinely good.
Okay, so I can go through the brackets quickly to see if there's anyone. So we've got KD versus Derek Jones Jr., Montrezl Harrell versus Domantas Sabonis, Devin Booker versus Michael Porter Jr., Donovan Mitchell versus Rui Hachimura, Trae Young versus Harrison Barnes, Zach LaVine versus DeAndre Ayton, Andre Drummond versus DeMarcus Cousins, and Hassan Whiteside versus Patrick Beverley. Any of those other guys jump out at you as being people who are apparently good at the game?
No, can't remember.
No.
Who's
Fair enough.
who are the? Can you read the seeds? I'm intrigued.
Okay, so KD 1, Trae Young 2, Hassan Whiteside 3, Donovan Mitchell 4. I'm just jumping around the screen now. 5 is Devin Booker, 6 is Andre Drummond, 7 is Zach LaVine, 8 is Montrezl Harrell, 9 is Sabonis, 10 is Ayton, 11 is DeMarcus Cousins, 12 is Michael Porter Jr., 13 Rui Hachimura, 14 Patrick Beverley, 15 Harrison Barnes, and 16 Derek Jones Jr. with a 78 overall.
I think Devin Booker will be good. He is a absolute gamer across everything.
Yeah.
Like he's streaming Call of Duty, and I think he streamed Fortnite before that. He's a big gamer.
Unless someone double teams him, and then
No,
it's not going to go down.
single player tournament only. But yeah, obviously that I can imagine it now. That'd be brilliant.
Do you know the one guy I'm surprised wasn't in this is Myers Leonard, because he is an absolutely massive gamer as well.
And Gordon Hayward as well.
Yeah,
It's I think it's another great a company taking advantage of this weird freak situation and just giving us more basketball content, more NBA content. Even if the guys aren't on the hardwood playing in real life, there's still interest and intrigue to see what these guys are like in a virtual game as well. It's just it just fascinates me that the NBA is at that level where it goes beyond the 94-50 of the court. It's so much bigger than that. Honestly, it amazes me. I'm intrigued to see how it's all going to pan out. Premieres on April the 3rd. It's going to be really interesting. You got so your sleeper pick is Devin Booker, Nick.
based on those seeds. Yeah,
based on those seeds. Tom, who are you going with?
I have no idea about anyone's 2K ability, so I'm going to go with Rui Hachimura, just as a complete random.
Do you think they have to play as themselves, or they get to pick a
interesting.
current team? Because that
changes things.
This could get. Yeah, it could be. It could. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I don't know that at this point. So, okay, so let's get on to the main topic of conversation that this whole pod was built around. So Tom had the bright idea of having a draft, which has taken me basically since the idea was suggested to try and get my head around what it was we were actually trying to do. And I worked out on what day are we now? Wednesday. So I worked out on Monday night that. Or was it Tuesday morning? I can't remember. It's all blurs into one. But anyway, I worked out that I was completely looking into the wrong thing and had misunderstood the concept for this draft. So what we've done is we've had an independent party in the form of one of our usual regular colleagues and hosts, Hugh Hopkins, has used a randomising site to determine a draft order between the three of us. We're going to be drafting from a current pool of players based on them right now and their physical conditions right now. So the aforementioned Kevin Durant is the version that is recovering from a torn Achilles, KD, and may not be the former Finals MVP sort of level player that he was. We're not including the salary cap because, and it was a genuine question I asked, because that's going to get too complicated. So we're just going to kind of go through drafting the best teams we can possible with the idea of being able to dominate for the next decade. Or is that about right, Tom? Have I understood it finally? Or
it's basically just as if you're redrafting from now, and so you can choose. You can go with the older guys that you're going to have maybe guaranteed success with, but just for a few years, or you can go with a younger guy with more upside and go further into the future. That is completely up to you. We'll see where we end up in a few picks' time. Yeah,
I think it's going to be really interesting. As I said to you guys before we hit record, I hate these sort of drafts. I hate the fantasy league draft we do because I somehow get nervous, even though it means absolutely nothing. I've had a nightmare week with technology. I managed to spill my tea all over my keyboard earlier. I thought that was on
All the excuses coming out early days.
Yeah, the excuses are coming out now. But my second screen died yesterday, so if I keep looking up, it's because I've had to hook my TV up to the computer too. So that's where I've got my very shoddy depth chart list and everything hooked up, ready to go. Is there anything else we need to cover before we start? Oh, I suppose we probably up to the draft order. It's Nick, then me, then Tom. We'll snake it, so Tom will then pick 4th, and I'll pick 5th, and Nick will pick 6th and 7th, and I'll pick 8th, like that, etc., etc.
2 guards, 3 front court spots.
Yep, 2 guards, 3 front court spots, like the All-Star. Anything else?
We're going to go for starting 5 and then see how long that takes us. It could take us half an hour, it could take us 3. So
okay, fair enough. So I'm going to try and keep track of who's picking what as well. And for fun, if anyone wants to throw out any trades, I'm open to I probably won't do any, to be fair. Now I've said that, I'm already overthinking this massively. I'm just making a list of who's picking what and where. Cool. So with the first pick of the Double Clutch podcast 2020's domination draft, Nick Whitfield is going to pick whom?
Right, I'm on the clock. So with the first pick, it feels like a big responsibility. So I looked deep into my soul to see who I was going to mesh with philosophically with my style of play, who's going to give me a big window, factoring in we're playing for 10 years or so age is a factor. I have picked Michael Oliver. No, I haven't picked Michael Oliver. I've picked Frank Nil. No, I haven't. That's the Knicks roster. I've picked Giannis Antetokounmpo.
There we go.
Oh man, yep. Okay, that's fair enough. So the first pick is Giannis.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody
Brilliant.
else that you could have gone with really with that.
Really, you wouldn't have gone with the guy who I'm probably going to take with the second pick?
I think Giannis. Who's Giannis? Giannis is a lock for that first pick, just because he's still young, but his MVP probably should be 2 years in a row now. So lock it in.
Yeah, I think. It was an easy pick in that regard. And now I'm thinking about it more. I'm getting more and more doubts about who I'm going to pick because I'm now on the clock. Because it could be. I don't think it is, but it could be a flash in the pan. But this guy has been in the conversation for MVP a lot this season, and he's only 20. I'm gonna have to go Luka, and that feels like I feel a bit sick in my mouth because he's 20, he's unproven, he's playing with the Mavs, and oh god.
And we don't even know if he could play at Holy Cross on a Tuesday night. He might not make it.
But he's done it all. He's done it all at every level he's got to, within reason. Obviously, he hasn't won the big awards yet in the NBA. Rookie of the Year's not counting. Oh God, I've done it. I've taken Luka with the first pick above all of that talent. What am I doing?
I actually think that's a really wise choice. And now because I've got 2 picks in a row, looking down.
That's why I've taken him.
Yeah, looking down the
You've got
list.
a double pick. He wouldn't be there when I came back to 5.
Yeah, no way. It actually gets really tight for guards in these early picks. Like after Luka, it's just all front court players. So.
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, we count in Giannis's front court, even though he handles the ball.
I think so.
Okay, Nick, you all right with that?
Yep.
Cool.
This 3rd and 4th pick these are the hardest things I've had to deal with all week as I've been planning it. I think I'm just gonna do it with the 3rd pick. I'm gonna take Zion Williamson.
Wow.
Ooh. How many games has he played?
Not enough, but think of the upside.
With the 3rd pick?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been debating doing that, and you know what? I don't care.
Oh man, I think it sounds more. There's more gravitas to it because it's the 3rd pick. If you'd have picked him with the 4th, it would have still been a reaction similar to that.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was it. I knew I was going to take him with one of them, so I thought, why not go for the controversial one and take him at 3? And then the fourth one, I've been stuck between 2 different players. And I put one of them in on my spreadsheet. I'm not sure I want to go with him anymore. I'm going to go with the 4th pick and take Anthony Davis.
Oh no! I didn't think you were going to do that. Oh,
I was
no.
hoping I was going to get Davis as well.
Yeah, that's my second pick wiped out. Oh no! Now I've got a. Oh no! And now I've got a flex. Really. Ah no! That's all the length gone. All the sort of multi-positional length that Giannis and cause I'd say AD is probably the closest to what Giannis is. Oh no! Now I've got to go back into my depth chart. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm.
So I was debating at that one. It was between AD and Kawhi. Just because Kawhi wins wherever he goes. Whether that's going to influence you,
Yeah,
I don't know.
28. Mm-hmm. See, I'm factoring in this whole decade. So if he's 28 now, he's good for what? Do you think a one-legged Kawhi is going to be playing at this level at 32, at 33?
He plays in slow motion. It doesn't
31?
matter. He can play with no legs.
Play with no legs. I'm sticking with young guns.
Okay.
I'm going to go Jason Tatum.
Woo! Big.
Flip it with a 5th pick.
With the
Oh,
5th
my
pick,
word.
I'm going young. I'm going for the whole decade. You can have your shine the first couple of years. Wow. You've got a guy who can handle the ball, go inside, go outside. Basically, I'm going big or going home. I'm going against convention. No, actually, I'm going to shut up before I start giving away my game plan here. Actually, and people start sniping me out. Yeah, Tatum. It's in. Lock it in.
Wow.
I feel sick. I think I'm going to say that a lot this podcast.
I feel like if I'd taken Tatum there, I'd have got shredded. Just because I'm a Celtics fan and I get called a homer and all sorts.
Well, I'd have shouted at you if you'd have taken AD and Tatum because they were my 2 and 3.
Wow. Nick, we're on to you with the 6th pick.
Right, so I've got two picks. So my next pick is short-termism, and I'm actually a little bit insulted on his behalf. He's still on the board. LeBron James.
Yeah, had to.
Are we calling him front court or back court, seeing as he's now a point guard?
Well, he's the same as Giannis, though, isn't he? He's
front court. Okay.
I think he's front court. That's a point. Okay.
And we're 3 front court, right?
I'm putting them positionally. You guys have gone heavy on the front court.
And my next pick, do I go young or do I double down on winning a few in a row? I am going to pick...
The problem is with this, you like thinking it through in your head, reading all the names, but you don't want to say them out loud because you're going to give them to everyone else.
Yeah, there's a few names that I'm trying to work out if they will still be on the board by the time I come back again. I'm going to go for Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, that's it. Tearing my heart out.
You've locked up the next 3 chips, but then
you are winning.
I was going to say,
yeah,
I have Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi, so I'm pretty confident that I'm going to dominate the early years at this point.
Well, you've got 26, 35, and 28. So yeah. Oh man. See, if I see that front court now, I'm already like,
what's the point?
That wins the public vote based on what's going on.
Yeah.
You know that.
We're gonna have to find stats to put out with the teams to make us feel better about ourselves, like average age and things like that, just to kind of make us young guns.
Yeah. So you've gone LeBron and that means I'm back on the board. Right. Okay. This is tough.
Still got James Harden, KD, Steph Curry, Embiid.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking through my list now.
Frank Ntilikina's still there, guys.
Is he?
Usually,
Did he not go? Did you not pick him number 1?
Almost.
I'm pretty sure I wrote that down. Oh man, I don't even. Right, I'm going to go for a 31-year-old, a guy who is equally effective on the ball as off the ball. Can run point, obviously, because he's he's already a GOAT level player. I say GOAT, greatest of this era, certainly. One of the greatest of this era. I'm backtracking this decision already, aren't I? I'm walking this back as I give him the plaudits. I'm taking Steph.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He opens up the floor for everyone else. Plays off the ball beautifully. Is the consummate team player, even though he is equally able to take over the game in its entirety.
Nice.
Hard to argue with Steph.
I just don't like the age. Honestly, 31, I'm just like... But I suppose what he's got in his favour is that he doesn't rely on athleticism. And...
He can stand in the corner for 10 more years.
Exactly.
32. Oh, my word. He's a March birthday, so he's now 32.
Oh,
there you go.
My mistake.
Take it back.
My information.
No going back.
Yeah. Can I get a redo, please? Cool.
Wow. So it comes back to me with the 9th and the 10th pick.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got to take Kevin Durant. He's still on the board. He was in the last one in that kind of top tier for me. That was a no-brainer. So I think that finishes out my front court. I've got AD,
you
KD,
both.
and
Your
Zion.
front courts are full.
Yeah.
Are we making sure that we draft our entire starting 5? Like, for example, if there's another forward you want with your next pick, are we allowing you to take him as a bench player before you fill out your starting guards?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're locking in. We're going to be in for a long podcast.
It's gonna be a pain in the ass for me. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. How long are we already running on this?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. Oh, that's fine. We can run to 10. If you want to pick another forward, why am I giving you that? Because I need forwards. Why am I doing this? Why? I don't care. Go with it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And yet it matters entirely.
I mean, the next few on my big board are, I've got four guards in a row. One who's very controversial. And I think I'm going to, oh my word. This is one that in my head makes sense, but I know that when it goes out on social media, I'm going to get shredded for knowing who else is on the board. So we've got Dame on the board, we've got Beal, we've got James Harden. But I think I'm going to take Devin Booker. 23. He's got a long time.
To be fair, my debate was Booker versus Steph, purely on age.
I was also looking at Booker for one of my next picks.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Very accomplished scorer for a very young age. It's a good pick.
Yeah, it feels like he's been around for a while now. So when I looked up his age, I knew he was young, but 23 still felt younger than he was somehow. So I was encouraged by that, I think.
I think one of the things that put me off is that, and I get that you can't put this on his shoulders entirely, and I have done before, is that he's not winning, and that just sort of niggles me a little bit. Right, that's me back on the clock. Let's look at my board. Oh man, I've got to go forwards all of a sudden. I don't like this.
A lot of centres.
Yeah, I think there might still be a lot of centres after I've had my next 3 picks. Not a fan of that position. I want someone that's versatile. I want someone that's long. You've picked them all.
If you take a forward that's not a centre, I am intrigued to know who's coming up next.
I want to keep them young as well. See, I look at guys and I see people like Porzingis at 24, and I just think you're too frail. Even though you've got a heck of a lot of time on your side, you're too frail to be using my 4th pick on. This is my 4th pick, isn't it? I haven't magically. Yeah. Oh man, how long have we got on the clock for?
You're pushing it, Mike. You're pushing it.
I am. I really am. I honestly don't know. I don't know. It's so difficult. So I'm looking at Paul George, great two-way player, 29. Shoulder issues. Not a big fan of that. And then, oh man,
I feel like we're going to have to start naming these names, otherwise it's going to be not the most entertaining on the clock period.
no, I get you. I'm going to go with a centre. I'm going to go with a guy who is 24 or 25, depending on when his birthday was, within the last month or so. I'm taking Cat.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think it's a good pick. He's probably the best big left. I'm sure Joel Embiid would beg to differ, but Cat puts up those numbers, stays healthy. Right, I've got a double pick now. So I feel like I cemented my front court and short-termism. So I've got 2 backcourt slots to fill out now. And I've got some young guns still there. Or do I keep it cemented? I've still got James Harden, which is crazy. But I'm debating whether I could have Harden and Giannis on the same team. It seems like that would mess up my chemistry.
That's true.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would take long for Harden to realise that if he picked a fight with Giannis, he'd probably come off worse. Although, to be fair, Giannis wouldn't be able to hit him because he'd be dancing around with his Euro step all over, 3 steps backwards, 4 steps left. Sorry, carry on.
The first of these picks, I'm going to pick Klay Thompson.
Oh, my word.
He is
I
my
thought he was
floor
going to be a sleeper
spacer.
for a bit.
He's my floor spacer for Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi. And I don't think he's 30, so for the next probably best part of 10 years, again, he can stand in a corner and probably defend to a good level. So that's all I need him to do. For point guard, I'm going for... Who do I want to run the point? Or do I go for another combo guard? I will go for...
Careful here.
Damian Lillard.
Okay. That's okay.
Oh, wow, you've locked in that window.
Yeah. I'm happy with this starting 5 to beat any other 5 coming up.
Mm-hmm.
For the next 2 or 3 years, I'll give you that.
More than that, I think. Giannis is cementing this team, I think, longer than that. LeBron cements it, it locks it in for a few years, and then I think...
A few years? He's 35. How old do you think he's going to...
Have you seen LeBron James? How good he still is?
Yeah, I've seen LeBron James, but he's 35. At some point, your body's got to just say, no, I'm done.
No, I don't think it does for him. He's going to be 50 and still in the NBA. He still hasn't even had to transition into becoming Karl Malone yet, which I thought he would have done by this point in his career.
Although I don't know if you saw the news when he came
That's
out
true.
and said that it's really hit his body hard, this coronavirus thing, because he's been playing basketball every day for his whole life, and then now he's had to stop. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the start of a downward spiral.
Or is it actually the longest break he's ever had, and he comes back looking a few years younger? Who knows?
Probably.
Well, we've seen how good he's looked after he had the early finish last season. It's oh man, I do not like this at all. I'm changing the filters on my spreadsheet to try and key in on a specific position.
I need you to take a certain player to make my next pick easier. So if you can do that, that'd be great.
I'm probably not going to take the guy you're looking for, given that you need a point guard and I need a forward. I think I'm going to take Paul George. I don't like that he's 29, but he was an MVP consideration last year and elite two-way player.
Consistently underrated, I think.
Or overrated if you've picked him with the 14th pick in the double clutch 2020 decade of dominance draft.
You see, this is our difference in approach. I'm going for guys who are already championship level guys versus guys who may one day be championship level guys.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the fact that I've now got 2 picks in a row, I was torn for a point guard. I think I'm just going to take them both.
Get out. I know what you're
I'm
going to
take James Harden with the first pick, or the
okay.
15th overall, and with the next pick.
Oh wait. So that let's pause there for a split second. So you've picked Harden. So that's the starting 5 locked in. Okay. So let me just recap them for everyone listening. So Team Nick in a team that's going to dominate for at least the next 3 years. Dame at point guard with Klay. At the 2, Giannis, LeBron and Kawhi in the front court.
Oh my word.
Versatile, scary team. Me, Luka and Steph in the backcourt, Tatum, Kat and Paul George. I ended up picking a centre, and I don't want a centre. I wanted to go small, and somehow Nick's picked a relatively small ball team. Tom has got Harden, Booker, AD, Zion and KD as his 5.
Yeah, it's like I can't make my mind up. Future or now. Probably neither. I probably shot myself in the foot.
Right. Okay, so that's... Let me make a note of your last one as well there, Tom. You've picked Harden. Can you believe Harden went to 15th? Okay, cool.
I would have picked him earlier, except I worried about chemistry.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. So the 16th pick then is Tom again.
Yeah, so, I mean, if I only had one pick here, I would have been really torn over whether to take Harden or this guy. He is 10 years younger than James Harden. I'm going to take Ja Morant.
Wow.
No, that's...
big fan, but great age.
Annoying. That's wound me up no end, because that's next on my list. Okay, so that's me back on the clock. Where do I go now?
What kind of position are you looking to fill now? You've done your starters, or is it just a case of best player available?
It's sort of, but it's also a case of I don't want any bigs at all. I just want versatility and more youth, and I'm not going to get it. I'm going to take as my backup point guard Trae Young.
Wow,
that's annoying. He was going to be my next pick.
So he's actually on my list of people that I didn't want to draft.
Wow.
I mean, he's so exciting to
Explain
watch.
yourself.
Yeah, but I struggle to see how... I'm going to end up eating my words here, but I don't think he's going to win much unless his defense dramatically improves, because he's one of them players where at the moment every team that plays him just picks him out as the one to exploit and to score on, and it works every time. So, which has kind of shown itself in the Hawks' record. They've been really exciting to watch, and he's had some mad scoring games, but actually they're not doing very well with their record because they're just losing all the time, and it's because of his defense.
I take your point, and I raise you this: the Golden State Warriors in their death lineup, the guy they would pick at is Steph Curry. The guy Trae Young's been compared to the most is Steph Curry. Mentoring for the next few years at least before I just usher him off into the corner to gun threes is Steph Curry. And then you've got this sort of pseudo-friendly rivalry between Luka and Trae as well going on. So I'm comfortable with my pick. I think that we can grow him organically to become the total player he can become.
I didn't consider that you already had Curry, so yeah, that changes things. Yeah.
Only a little bit though, because we're not going to be able to teach him to grow a little bit taller. Over to you, Nick.
Right, so I've got another 2 picks. So I feel like my short-term cemented, I'm going to pick some younger guys now. This guy I'm picking, A, because I love watching him play, and B, he's a good age, and I think he will offer me a different way of playing. I'm going for Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
Embiid might have been the sensible pick there if you were looking for a big, but I do not like his health consistency issues. And my next pick, I am going for another long-rangey guy, also a great age, and I think we're starting to see the trajectory, I can't say that word, of his career really taking off now. Brandon Ingram.
Oh my, that's high.
He was in my next couple. I actually looked at him when I took Paul George.
He's 22. Crazy.
It's ridiculous. Stupid young. Stupid long, stupid young.
And his numbers now actually look comparable to KD numbers at a similar age. So I'm gambling a little bit on Ingram's potential there.
That's fair. And he's going to be someone who, I mean, he's already a natural scorer. So coming off the bench when he's playing with people like Giannis and LeBron and those like...
He kind of fits in with the versatile style of playing I'm looking to get as well.
Positionless basketball.
I'm looking, and I'm wondering where I go next. That's not going to be a ridiculous, oh my God, you picked him this high. Because there's 2 guys sticking out to me. and neither of them. I wonder if either of them have made your top 15s, let alone top 10s, as potential.
I've got a number 12 still remaining on my board, and then it jumps to 17. So
I am going with an audaciously high pick for this guy, given he's not done a lot. He's in his second. Well, I say he's not done a lot. He's not spoken about a lot. He's in his second year in the league. He had a bit of a slow start this year, but did really well last year. The Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Nice pick.
I didn't anticipate picking him, but he was on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone for the youth.
Yeah, considering he's one of those guys that plays so well and he plays so hard, and he's with him being like 20 years old, he's younger than most people that are going to get drafted still, which is nuts. Already 2 years into his career, so that is a very solid 20th pick.
Yep, which has just reminded me, Nick, who did you pick with the 19th? Because I didn't make a note of it.
My last two picks were Jokic and Ingram.
Ingram, that was it.
Now this is tough. There's still some huge names left on the board.
Some massive names.
Kyrie, Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Embiid, Oladipo. Oh, it just gets... This is where I think it's going to get good, because we were talking before we started recording and saying that the 32 picks are going to kind of pick themselves. Now it gets into the niche. You need to know what you're talking about. So this is where I'm going to fall to pieces. So with the 21st pick, I'm going to take Bradley Beal. 26 years old, up there with the best scoring numbers in the league. So as a backup guard, I think him and Devin Booker can play interchangeably.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted. I should have gone with him over Jaren Jackson, because I don't think you'd have picked Jaren Jackson in these two
tough.
picks.
So the next, I need a front court player basically for my next one, and I was torn between Triple J, Siakam, Adebayo, and Embiid, and that is the decision I've got to make now. And I think I'm going to go with Embiid, and I talk about him all the time, slagging him off on this pod because he's so inconsistent, and he reminds me of Paul Pogba, but I've got to take him. I mean, at 22, he's still on the board, so you've got to take Embiid.
Embiid's an interesting one, as Nick pointed to a minute ago with his health issues. It's like he could easily be a guy who should have gone in the top 5 picks, but he's not been able to prove any of it consistently, and instead he's fallen to 22nd. That's mad. Okay, so I need a couple of forward spots and a guard.
Are we saying if we're taking 5 bench players, are we saying another 2 guards and 3 front court, or just anything goes? What would you rather do?
I'm happy with anything.
I don't mind.
Make it easier.
We can be flexible.
Okay. So, despite the fact I've got Cat, I seem to be lacking some kind of physical presence.
Nice.
So I'm going to go with Bam, because if he doesn't get MIP this year, assuming they give the awards, then that's a travesty. I just think that would be an interesting front court, actually, from the bench with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Bam. I've gone much more traditional with bigs than I ever wanted to, actually. So I'm not happy with my team at all. But, oh well, there we go.
Right, so double header again. Looking at younger guys again. I feel like I need some backcourt presence, and there's another guy still on the board who's still young, can run an offense, can play 1 to 4 basically at a high level, and not on the same team as Joel Embiid. He actually looks better. So Ben Simmons.
Interesting.
Nice. I thought you were going to say Marcus Smart.
He is on my list. He did make my potential list of I think I'm, of non-Celtics fans, maybe the biggest fan of Marcus Smart in the world. So, and my next pick, again to cement my backcourt, real versatile combo guard, really good scorer, incredible athlete, 23 years old, Donovan Mitchell.
Nice. Good pick. Yeah, he was one of the guys that I had pretty low in my rankings, but I don't know why. I think for some reason in my head, I mean, he's 23 years old and he's been incredible so far. I just struggle to see him getting like much better than he is, if you know what I mean. So similar to what people have said about Kuzma, Although he is a bit older, like he's really good and he's a great scorer, but where does he go from here? I'm not sure.
The thing that I think has upside with Mitchell is like out in China, seeing him play for USA alongside Marcus Smart, for example, seeing when he's among incredible defenders, for example, he really turns it up, and I think that's the side of his game that we could see a big upturn in, as well as the usual stuff of maybe he's a bit more of an efficient shooter as he gets older and that sort of thing.
I'm just letting you guys talk while I milk this extra time.
What are you thinking? What's going through your head?
Right now, do I take this guard?
What are you looking for from this player, Mike? What needs do you think your team has?
So I'm pretty comfortable with that starting five as being able to spread the floor. The second unit, Trey can spread the floor, Jaren Jackson Jr. can spread the floor to a rate that doesn't seem fathomable for a guy of his skill set or shot technique. I'm looking for more. I want more. I just want as much length as I can get, and I feel like I've sacrificed some versatility in forgetting people like Cat, who is relatively versatile for his size, or quite versatile for his size, but would still, in the way the NBA goes at the minute, be the point of attack for a 1-5 pick and roll in any sort of series matchup. Bam, again, he's added, as we saw with the Team USA in the preseason and just this season in general, he's added more scoring capability, and he's just an absolute athlete. But I want more shooting and spreading of the floor.
Having just said that, Nick, what do you think he should do? What are some options that he should go for?
If it was me, I'd probably pick Mitchell Robinson, to be honest.
Less length, more spread on the floor.
Really good shot blocker.
This is tough. This is really, really tough, and I realise this is not an interesting 3-minute listen at this point, so make sure you're listening on 1.5 speed.
Have you considered Alex Caruso, yes or no?
Get out. That actually makes it even harder to pick.
There's still some big names left. I know you've been anti-age, Mike, but Russell Westbrook is still there, former MVP.
Absolutely
Kemba Walker. Walker's still there.
Kemba's just below where I'm looking.
CJ McCollum, combo guard.
Yeah, he's there as well. CJ plays off the ball.
Zach LaVine, good age, actually getting buckets for the Bulls.
Yeah, but that's because they're the Bulls and they don't have anyone else really who can get buckets. That's not entirely true. That system's flawed. I hate the way they're running that team at the minute. Right, okay, fine. I need to make a decision. I'm going to go with Kemba over CJ.
Oh, okay.
Often slept on, really good player.
So from what I can remember of your team, it's like really small and really big, and nothing in between.
Basically, I've gone with range and sacrificed length, and I wanted to blend the two. I'm still annoyed Beal went. Lock it in, Kemba. Double pick for Tom, including your last pick.
Oh yeah, I didn't even consider that. So some huge names, in addition to the ones we just said. Kyrie's on there. Rudy Gobert's still on there. You mentioned Porzingis earlier on. Number 1 pick, DeAndre Ayton, still on there. Draymond Green, Buddy Hield.
Anthony Bennett.
I think I've got to go with Pascal Siakam. I think it's a disgrace that it's still on the board at 27, so I'm going to...
There was a reason I didn't list him to Mike in my suggestions for Mike.
I've already filled that role. That's where I see Jaren Jackson come in, although Pascal obviously has the ball in his hands more. I've filled that role. You can have him. No skin off my nose.
So my last pick, obviously I can just say whatever's on my spreadsheet now because there's no... It doesn't matter if you guys take him next because I've got no more picks.
Yeah, I want to hear your list of who you're not picking as well.
I've got Jaylen Brown at 22 and then SGA, Porzingis, Larry Markkinen, LaVine, Oladipo, McCollum, Jonathan Isaac was up there, a bit of a random one. OG Anunoby, some right weird ones. I think I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown as my homer last pick. I told myself it'd be Marcus Smart, but Jaylen Brown, shooting guard / wing, so a bit of both there.
Siakam and Brown. I'm having to update so many different parts of this spreadsheet and I don't even know why. I've got a list of everything that's picked in order and a list of the teams as they're being built. Right, okay.
So I have one pick left.
You do.
And there's some interesting choices left. One guy who I think is very underrated generally and doesn't get thought of as good a player as he actually is Jimmy Butler, who's still there.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30, so works against him a little bit. But in terms of, for the next 5 years, say, who's going to be an absolute warrior in a playoff series, I'd pick him over a lot of people. I could go in the other direction and go someone who I didn't think you guys would pick, but I really like the player he's turning into is Lonzo Ball in terms of his ability to defend. He can play with anyone. He can shoot the ball increasingly well. I could go with De'Aaron Fox as a young guy to run an offense, run the floor. D'Angelo Russell's still there. Could nail down my competition for short-termism and go Chris Paul. Or Rudy Gobert. He can impact games defensively like not many other people. But I'm going to go young.
It's not your pick.
Oh yeah. After all that.
Oh, I'll carry on thinking.
Please
then.
take this guy, Mike.
I was just like sat there like he's just going away like, fair enough. Let's listen to this. And then I was like, he does know it's not his pick, right?
It's a good thing I didn't actually pick then, because you could have really done me there.
Yeah, I could have done.
Please take the guy. It'd be so funny.
Yeah, well, he named about 300 players, so I've no doubt I'm taking one of the guys he's named. But I've gone relatively young for a lot of it. So Steph and PG and Kemba are my oldest guys. So I'm going to go with age. And I'm going to go with the guy Nick mentioned that's going to whip these guys into shape. I'm going to take buckets. Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay. That means there's some huge names not being taken. I had like another tier of young players that, including like Lonzo Ball and all those other guys that realistically probably weren't going to get taken in that top 30. But people like RJ Barrett, Kobe White, Tyler Hero, PJ Washington, the potential's there. They could turn out to be incredible players, but they're just not quite over the hill in terms of breaking into that top 30 in terms of upside combined with current quality.
Yeah, I'm looking at my roster now, and I've definitely got youth on my side. I think I've got more. Yeah, I think I've got more youth than you have, which is weird. No, not too much. We've both got pretty young teams. I think Nick's going to wrap up the first, like I say, the first 3 years, 2-3 years, but then I think it's a different kind of game. I'm intrigued to see how who's his backcourt, Dame and Clay. Dame's 28, Clay's 30. They'll be 31. Okay, they both can shoot really well. I mean, Clay's one of my favourite shooters of all time, and probably got the purest form I've ever seen. Dame is just from all over. So they can probably stay on the floor a long time. But I'm intrigued to see how Simmons and Giannis will work together. I wonder whether that's actually just the flip you'd make. Like the first unit runs with Giannis, and the second unit runs almost exactly the same, but with Simmons as like a Giannis 0.6 or something. But anyway, I'm taking up Nick's picking time, so I'll hand it over.
He's just too good to still be on the board, and he gives me a look I don't have to help win games. Rudy Gobert.
Do you know what that look's going to be? It's going to be one of my guys coming down in a 1-5 pick and roll and rinsing him. But okay.
Yeah, he's my last guy on the bench. If you've got Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, as your last guy on the bench, I feel like you're all right.
Yeah, should have gone with Russell Westbrook, shouldn't I? That'd have been fun. Okay, so I'll recap the entire roster then. So for Nick, he's got starting 5 of Dame, Clay, Giannis, LeBron and Kawhi, and then a bench of Simmons, Donovan Mitchell, Jokic, Brandon Ingram and Rudy Gobert. I've got Luka, Steph, Tatum, Kat, Paul George, Trae Young, Kemba Walker, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. And Tom has Harden, Booker, AD, Zion, KD, Ja Morant, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam and Jaylen Brown. Are people happy with their rosters?
Yeah, I think so. I think not having the first pick for me kind of threw me off. That one of the first two picks, because I think that Giannis and Luka were the locks for the first two, and then after that it could have gone anywhere between Zion, AD, LeBron, Kawhi, Tatum, any of those guys. So but that was tough. But yeah, I'm fairly happy.
I'm still surprised you went with Zion above AD. Still surprised by it. Even though that it makes no difference in the grand scheme of things, I'm still surprised that Zion went as high as third, given the body of work we've seen.
I felt like my strategy ended up kind of being default because I picked first and then didn't have a pick again for a while. The fact that Kawhi and LeBron were still sitting there surprised me, and were too good not to pick at that point. So that kind of, and once you've got that three, you're kind of cemented into focusing a little bit short before you go young. So
yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, I look at your lineup now, and there is envy there, but I have to counter that with, look, it's envy because a lot of these guys are at their apex right now, and 2-3 years down the line they may not be. So I'm okay with mine.
Are we going to take coaches? I only asked because I heard rumours that we're going to reverse the picks, so I'll actually get the first pick.
Okay, well, why not? You can go first. Who would you like to pick? Is it Brad Stevens by chance?
It is Brad Stevens.
For you. Right, okay.
Whack it in. Mastermind. Future president.
Brad Stevens, okay.
Just on Brad Stevens, I read the other day that he's been making PowerPoints for his kids at home to keep them busy, which is the most Brad Stevens thing ever.
I wonder what their PowerPoints of. Like, are they?
He's probably got them running plays around his living room.
Yeah, homeschooling, or is it actually play calling? I'm going with Bud because everywhere he's gone, he's maximised that team. He's doing it with Milwaukee now, obviously behind Giannis. But look at what he did with Atlanta when they didn't have a superstar, and they managed to get all those guys clicking beautifully. I think he works well, versatile guy.
I'm going someone with a 100% winning record of NBA championships in the NBA. He has a record that includes, a resume I should say, that includes the Brighton Bears, the London Towers, the Birmingham Bullets. It's Nick Nurse.
Nice, innovative. When you said 100% record, I thought you were going to go Tim Duncan. Like, just randomly, just going to be like for that one game that doesn't even count towards his record. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll post them online. You guys can let us know what you think. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we close this one?
Yes, just because I know it's a good job that Hugh Hopkins has been nowhere near this pod, because I don't think a single Spurs player has been taken, or Pop was chosen in the top three coaches, which is quite remarkable.
But we're looking over the next decade, and Pop
is
already he's already saying, a couple years max. But you're right, there's some serious shade thrown there at name a Spurs player. I can't think of one right now. I'm joking. Of course, I'm joking. But who wants guys like DeMar DeRozan in this kind of draft we're doing? And again, he's 30. Doesn't fit into my age category, and I'd rather pick some of the guys I've got like Jimmy Butler over him. And LMA, he's still not got the range, and other than that, that's their two big players. They've got a couple of young guns, but we've not seen enough of them to warrant taking them in the same category as some of the young guns we've got here. But there's another episode where we've managed to slander the Spurs whilst Hugh's not on it. Nick, anything from you?
I'd just like to point out not a single Knicks player was picked either, but I did my best to name a few of them in this episode at least, just for future reference.
How many teams deep do you think we'd have needed to go? We've obviously gone 3 teams. How many teams deep do you think we needed to go before we picked a Knicks player?
I think if you had another couple of people in the draft, so it ended up like 50 rather than 30, guys like RJ Barrett might be hovering there, or Mitchell Robinson. I was joking in top 30, but maybe someone gambles on that freak athlete, 7'1", whatever he is. maybe they start hovering at that point, but probably not before that.
Cool. No, that's probably fair. So we've needed 2 more teams. Awesome. Okay, so that does it for this episode of the Double Clutch podcast. As I said at the start, if you're not already, make sure you are following us on social media. It's at Double Clutch UK. Email us admin@doubleclutch.uk, and the website is www.doubleclutch.uk. To everyone who's listening, thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay indoors, all that kind of stuff. We will speak to you again soon with another episode, but see you soon.